Hello, assalamu alaikum, and welcome to this week's Open Dialogue. Sadly, we don't have Molana Muhammad Rizvi with us, but I'd like to welcome Aghay Musharraf Hussaini, who's no stranger on Ahlebait TV. Welcome to the show.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. And there's also Ajmal Mushtaq, who is a novice and a rookie to Ahlebait TV. A chef extraordinaire, managing consultant no less in the past. A man who set up his own food business and was also celebrated at the Halal Food Festival, which took place this weekend in Excel, the Excel Centre. A very fascinating gathering for the first time around food which is halal. The halal food industry is burgeoning to 20 billion pounds per annum. It's said. There are over 4 million Muslims living in this country which are with a rapacious desire for halal food. Supermarkets from Tesco's to Sainsbury's through to even local stores are all catering for it and recognizing the massive economic gain that's to be had in terms of the Muslim community that not only resides here but in Europe. Across the world, Muslims are a consumer population of perhaps up to 1.5 billion. This is a market which major corporate companies can't ignore. What's going to happen? Are we going to become corporate victims? Is the halal concept, the halal range, going to be turned into some kind of corporate commodification? Are we going to become victims of advertising? And is this what the Halal Food Festival that took place this weekend was about? Personally, I thought it was a great venture by an individual who took a step to do something he personally wanted. But I'd like you to make your own mind up, and then I'm going to bring in my guests to not only talk about the food festival itself, but also to go beyond and look at the halal food industry in this country and all the different variations and how Shariah compliant most of those are, and what perhaps we can do to make them more Shariah compliant, if that's even possible. Please join us right after this clip.
Of the year, and it works just as well, absolutely just as well.
I guess if you haven't got enough raspberries and strawberries and blueberries, you could do a mixed fruit jam if you've got lots of a few, I suppose, wouldn't you, as well?
Absolutely, I love mixed berry jam, exactly. So this would be wonderful with blackberries, raspberries as well. Gorgeous. There.
Oh, another question?
The Halal Food Festival has just been a resounding success. I've really enjoyed every minute of being here. There's so much variety, and as a chef there's live cooking demo, there's cook along stage, and there's just so many stalls, and there's such fabulous produce on show. It's just amazing. I think the lack of having a Halal Food Festival or anything of this sort has been the driving force in making this a real success.
In fact, I think the organisers have done a great job organising this Halal Food Festival. So why they don't know this, but why don't we just give them a massive cheer? Okay, 3, 2, 1, yay! That's for the organisers if you're listening. They've done a really good job, well done. Lots of effort has gone into this. Smells nice. How are we looking here? Good? Okay, that's fine. I need a new chef's jacket. This one's got some stains on it now. Okay, can you turn that up? Turn it up. That's good, just be careful it doesn't sink to the bottom, that's good. Okay, so we want to... Have you all got spoons? Here you go, just use this spoon. You alright? Okay. Just empty it any which way you can. And just pass the spoon around if you like. Right, girls, remember, turn down the gas, please. Turn it down to the 5 now. See, press 9 is for down. You're like genius. Let's get it down to 6. Have we got a plate down like that? Just one. From here, the top wing bone, it comes down. 1. This leg, the socket here, if you have to just slightly deep push your knife inside, it will cut the vein, but you don't have to rejoin it. Similar, it'll cut the...
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Open Dialogue. We're often accused of dealing with all the issues which actually make people not call in. Today we've got a nice soft subject for you, halal food, the halal food industry, people who are in the halal food industries. How good are they at what they do? How can we trust them? Yet again, I'm veering towards those kind of awkward questions, and we've done shows before in which we've had pork samples in various meat items, and I'm going to come to those issues again to discuss some of the thorny issues around halal. But first, I'm going to come to our chef in the studio. Ajmal, you were there in the video. What did you feel about the festival itself?
I think halal food has definitely got a lot of negative connotations in UK at the moment, and I think the Halal Food Festival did a great job addressing some of those myths and trying to bust those myths. So I think it's been great for raising the profile of even the word halal food. I think it's done a fantastic job bringing that to the fore.
Sure, and it didn't seem to have any overt agenda. All too often, a lot of our expos seem to be run by institutions or organizations with a particular religious agenda.
Yeah.
What I quite liked about this was that it was an individual entrepreneur who was from the city who decided to do it. And yes, sure, you're always going to get some things wrong and some things right. But in reality, the fact that it's being done and the fact that Muslims are waking up to the fact that we need to create platforms where others can come and share our excellence, share our not only our spiritual heritage, but also our cultural, Islamic cultural heritage. Because often people learn about you much better through cultural expressions. They engage. Food is one of those cultural expressions. You, in your own personal career, had the opportunity to be a managing consultant. You've got degrees of all sorts, but you chose food. Why?
Well, I was a management consultant for 10 years here in London, and I was very successful, and I left that just to follow my passion of working with food every single day. It's just a real deep-rooted passion that I've had for a long time, and it got to the point where I really had to leave my job and work with it every single day, and no regrets. It's been amazing.
Where did that inspiration come? Everybody eats food, but why? What makes you go to the next stage? So I actually want to become somebody who serves people and helps people to delight in food. And Agha might come back to me on the entertainment issue around food and to what extent the food tradition, the eating of food, has turned into show business itself. Some would argue that the restaurant business is show business as well. But what inspired you to come into this, the business side of it?
Well, I've got a knowledge of the restaurant business because that's what my family was involved in. And then I had the experience of running a business in London. I was a management consultant dealing with some FTSE 100 companies and really understanding how they're successful. So I combined the business and the food together to create my own brand of restaurant that's just doing phenomenally well. And it's been fun. It's been real fun, you know, the last 4 years. With
the economic recession and the situation as it is there scope for Muslims coming actively even more into the food business? You see a lot of the chicken and chip shops, I'm afraid. Most of the food businesses we're in seem to be takeaways. The upper end of the market, are we equally represented within that market, do you think?
Well, we're getting better at it there, and probably in the last 4 or 5 years there's more and more restaurants coming on the scene, and they're refined, they've got a much more professional edge, and they're doing well. And I think this is something that's just going to carry on in the years to come. So I think the profile of quality Indian dining is really going to be raised.
So most of this halal food, most of the restaurant industry in this country is now run by Muslims and takes its inspiration from food which is originated in Muslim lands. It's a huge industry, 20 billion by some estimates in Britain alone. I mean, I don't even know, I can't even work that out in my head, but that's just 5 million of us having a huge impact on British society, and they all love this food. Whether it's Bengalis, Lebanese, Moroccans, or Pakistanis cooking it, the British public can't get enough of it. Is it growing that rapidly?
Well, I think the answer is yes. I mean, the food is tasty. If you look at food from the Indian subcontinent or even across Asia, it is tasty, tasty food. And I think that's why the British public have taken to it, and that's why chicken tikka masala is a national dish of the UK.
What's your advice to people who want to come into the entrepreneurial business side of food in the halal industry? Because it's not just cooking it in restaurants. Of course, there's the production and the manufacture. Is there a way that young people or aspiring people within our community can get help to become businessmen in this field and become affluent through it?
Yeah, I mean, the opportunities are always there. I would say if you've got some education, if you've got some experience in a professional working environment, working for a bigger company, that helps you develop your skills around communication, leadership, teamwork, organisational structure. And if you've got some education and combine that with some experience, combine that with your passion, you give yourself a great chance of succeeding when you become an entrepreneur.
Are there any stories you can share with us and before I come into the more forensic element of the show, in which we're going to analyse how halal is and look at perhaps the industry and the way it's evolving and whether we might lose control of its kind of spiritual essence, the word halal, the actual brand halal itself. The last question I'm probably going to focus on is what you think people from the Western side of things actually think of you as a chef when they meet you. How do they react to you as a chef? How do they react to this food? What kind of impact does it have on them?
Well, we've spent, the Mushtaq's brand has spent a lot of effort in educating the public about the benefits of proper Indian food, and that's why the restaurant Mushtaq's in Glasgow, that's where I'm based, is actually grown from strength to strength. I mean, by the end of this year, I'll have nearly 80 people working there. And it's all about giving people good quality food. And also, we love the education in a fun way for the customers as well. And that really enhances their overall experience, and it gives them knowledge about the type of food that they're eating.
Okay. Molana, I'm going to come on to some of the more dangerous issues that I've raised around the word halal. One of my worries that I'm going to raise with you is that everything gets branded in this country, and a brand then turns into being a profitable item. The word halal is a brand, potentially. It's a word, but it can be turned into a brand. And I'm going to come on to this, but I've got a caller, so I'm going to give them precedence on this occasion. Assalamu alaikum, welcome. Your comment or your question, please.
I am Dr. Zahir from Luton.
Salam, Dr. Sam.
I would like to pay my gratitude and gratitude to Molana Musharraf Hussaini and our guest, head cook, and also you, Mohsin Abbas. The program which you have set, the topic today is food, entertainment, and Shariah. I was thinking about that, these three directions, which we have three sources, three forces, directly related to the human beings, The Sharia is for humanity, for human beings. I can't understand why we people do not, I emphasize on it, insist and pay respect to the humanity for which all the Sharia, all the food, and all the entertainment, they are directed to uplift the standard of the humanity. I am failed to understand, I just can't understand why we people do not pay more attention to how we could be a good human being to help others, which Shariah Ilahi or Shariah Muhammad or Shariah Isa or Shariah Ibrahimi, all these Shariahs are led to the uplift of the humanity. I'm sorry to say that, don't misunderstand me, and I would like to emphasize on this, please, we should insist and we should work for the humanity, though we are doing unity, and it's a big topic. I don't want to go in detail, but I would like to ask the answer from Musharraf Hussaini, Molana Musharraf Hussaini, and you also, if you could help me. Thank you very much.
Dr. Guru, lovely to hear from you, and thank you very much. The floor is yours. You can handle that one.
Yeah, actually, the humanity and the human life and the spirituality of the human being is very much linked to the halal food. The spiritual ulama, the akhlaqiyat and other fields of the Islam, they tell us that one of the important factor of your spiritual journey is that your food should be halal. Halal in two sense. Number one, that your money that you have earned, that should be halal, that you are consuming, because the food remains in your body. If you have, even if it's halal food, really halal, right zabiha, properly slaughtered animal, and if the money is not right, it's not coming from the right source, it will have negative effects on your soul and the spiritual journey. So halal food in itself has got a very important factor in the spiritual journey of the mankind. And it's a very important thing that we remember. There are too many stories about the people who didn't take care of this halal food. and thing being halal, and they had to face the consequences in their lives. It affects, and this is my personal experience also, that if you don't care for the halal food, you don't care. Like, for example, somebody forces you to drink wine. Your hands are tied and somebody puts a bottle in your mouth, for example's sake. It's not a sin for you because you are out of your control. You didn't do it out of your own intentions.
It's intention.
It's not your own free will. It's forced you. But the thing is that you will get intoxicated with that. Similar is halal food. Halal food. If you take halal food, you have to be careful. Your soul, your spirit, and your inclination towards the prayers and ibadah will increase. And if you don't take care of that, that will affect your.
Well, that's just a warm up for you. I know we're going to go on with this more. Yeah, that's just kicking the ball into the pitch, if you like. But we have somebody else on the pitch now. Assalamu alaikum and welcome. Your comment or your question?
Wa alaikum assalam, and to my humble salam to all of you.
Ji, wa alaikum salam.
Instead of saying individually, collectively, my salam and respect to all of you.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
And it is very interesting subject of food, entertainment, and Sharia. I have read is a book called Damatul Faqaba. I have read Imam Ali alayhi salam was eating very dry chapati, food made of very dry seed. And once one of his Mola Sahabi asked him, Mola, I want to taste this food. When he has in his mouth, and then it was like a meat. And when he finished and swallowed it, and he said, Mola, I have never eaten such a tasty meat in all my life. And then he requested the next day, Mola, I want to try another piece of this. And he tried, and he said that the food was so sweet that in my life I haven't had any sweet dish in my life. So that in looking, Maulai Kainat was eating very, very simple but heavenly and psychological, the God and the strength that he exercised on a khabar, and it shows that the food was not food was as looking, that was food from heaven. And second, entertainment is the best entertainment in Islamic psychology and in Islamic philosophy is one who spend a moment of taqwa. One who, have a taqwa, and after the pray and after the good deed and all the work, the entertainment he feels, and it cannot be buy with the money. That entertainment is, your body, your soul, all entertainment you received from that exercise, that the word cannot buy the expression and interpretation. And Sharia is that the two parts, Asul and Furu, that you see, this is not my domain. I leave it to the Molana, because Sharia is the domain of the ulama, and it is very. If I say something and it is not right, I will be answerable on the day of judgment. So I am reluctant to comment upon, please, and I humbly close my conversation and my respect to all of you.
Thank you very much, Bahut Shukriya. The idea of entertainment, the best form of entertainment is taqwa. I mean, this is not necessarily a competition to food, but today food has become entertainment to some extent. You go to a restaurant and people actually use it as a leisure activity. Many people, because they've got houses that are too small, perhaps tied up in London, want to get out. It's not
against
a haram
Sharia.
act. It's not against Sharia, is it?
Yeah, actually, the recession and the artificial poverty around us, in the global artificial poverty, what I say, it has forced the people to come towards entertainment. And you see the food business, like whenever the recession comes, is the last one to go down, and after the recession is the first business to come up, you know. Because as soon as people find a little bit of breathing space, the first thing they do, they want to take the pressures off their children, their family. So people don't come to the restaurants just to food, just for the sake of food. They come for the sake of entertainment also. Coming out and having a fresh breath, and then otherwise the same food at home, they want to change the taste, to bring a change in their life. So it's not something that food is entertainment, but food has become, people have joined together, because people can't have entertainment at one point and then food at another point and then going for the Sharia for the third point. So they join together, you know. They get halal food, they get to go for entertainment, and they come and they have their food and nourishing everything. But people are concerned with their entertainment. They prefer the places where it's confirmed that it's halal food. They prefer to go there in entertainment, although they're going for entertainment, but it's not just entertainment even then. But we can join together. Sharia doesn't say anything. I was once saying in my own program that in these days of recession, you should once or twice in every 2 weeks, you should take out your children, take a barbecue, and go just apply those special recipes on them, masalas, and then
well, that's
bring not
very good news for you, Ajmal. You want them to come in and buy food at your restaurant.
Don't do barbecues, go to the restaurant.
What do you think about this entertainment issue?
It's a good point, actually. You know, people don't go to restaurants just for food. They go to the restaurant for the whole social experience, for gatherings, to meet up with friends. And it's not just the food and the plate that matters. It's the whole ambience of a restaurant. It's the surroundings. It's the service. It's the food.
Environment, the whole environment.
The whole environment. So it's the whole experience that matters now, as opposed to just the food.
Sometimes I go to some of the restaurants that particularly our Muslims run. I can't think of more miserable waiters in the entire restaurant scene. And then I look around sometimes at the crowd, and I can't think of more miserable people. That nobody wants to smile. It seems that also when we come out into public, this is a psychology thing. Take me up on it, Aga, but every time I go out, you see everybody's more concerned about how they look and whether they look smart. Don't laugh too much. Don't do this. Don't actually have a full-on, relaxed occasion. There seems to be a lot of formality even when we're entertaining ourselves. Is that a repression? Do you think psychologically that's a harmful thing? Are people too conscious of image?
No, it's not like that. It's something that people, I think, in these days, because of the financial stresses and all these things, I think if you just tell them that it's depend on the owner of the restaurant, he has to direct that you should have a smile on your face, welcome the people, and that brings a very positive thing. It's on two people. Number one, on the customer, and number two, on the person himself. When he's smiling, he's got a smiley face. Obviously, that smile affects his person also. And the people who are coming in, they want to see the smiley faces. But you have pointed out the right thing that, usually people want to save money everywhere. In the business, they want to save more and more. Somewhere, you have to spend money. You have to give them good money to make them happy and bring a smile on their face.
Well, look, I've criticized the Muslims. Let me come back. Most English customers that probably turn up to restaurants, I reckon they need a couple of glasses of red wine before they cheer up as well, because people are they sound like they're working, they look like they've worked so hard, or they're miserable in some way or another, and they come out to these venues to really just let loose and relax. Now, not that I'm advocating alcohol, I'm just comparing that. Within the halal restaurants,
the Muslims, they don't need a booster. They don't need the red wine. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have given them inside them a booster. They just, like they said, the brother who phoned, they said you got taqwa and piety. It depends how you train your mind, what entertainment you like. A person who is a player, a football player, he will have entertainment at football match, watching a football match. But for example, a Molana who is in the mosque, he will not have an entertainment watching the football match. He will like to come and recite a surah or ayah of the Quran or a hadith. Like Hazrat Amir al-Mu'mineen says, that for your entertainment, a word of wisdom brings, like for an intellectual person, a word of wisdom is the best entertainment he can have.
But it's a good
it depends on the person how you have trained yourself, what taste you have developed. Like in the food, like the British society here, the Pakistani and the Asian food, the spicy food has brought spice in the life of the European.
Has it spiced up the life of the Europeans?
Well, definitely. I think,
yes.
As I mentioned earlier, chicken tikka masala being the national dish, it's just fantastic. So I think more and more people are experimenting with different types of food from all over the world now as well, which is great news for the restaurant industry as a whole.
Okay, I'm going to go to a short break with another clip, just to give you a sample of how people felt about the Halal Food Festival. It's not all good news, so I'm not going to do a big PR job on the food festival. It was a fine effort and a great start, I think. But here's another couple of opinions from the Halal Food Festival, which might give you an idea of opinions that people have about food in this area.
My message to the organisers was, Alhamdulillah, I applaud you that you've done this, but the organisation is very, very poor. You know, they should have gone to other food exhibitions where they would have seen that you never ever have food stalls bang in the middle. You're impeding traffic, foot flow. It's not child friendly. Push chairs are getting knocked over because people are having difficult navigating around. Okay, foods run out. It's a Saturday. Foods run out. People have come out hungry because your marketing was very slick. Alhamdulillah, I have to say, very, very impressed with your marketing. If your marketing's so slick, understand you're going to have huge demand. They run out of food. Now I've gone outside to Subway and had something to eat there. Very, very poor. Very poor.
Okay, so are there any positives from the
positive?
festival?
Like I said, alhamdulillah, the idea is wonderful, and the publicity it's got is very, very good. You know, it's been picked up by the BBC, it's been picked up by Reuters, and you can see it's got a good spin on it. It's a very, very good idea. But first impressions are your last impressions. I myself run a couple of restaurants called Fat Joe's. You know, first impression is everything. My first impression here is left a really bad taste. Somebody wants to say to me next year, would you go to the Halal Food Exhibition? I will say no, and you shouldn't go right now. Now, how is that? That's really bad.
Well, thank you very much for your comments. That's very honest of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
और ये बड़ी अफसोसनाक बात होगी अगर ऐसा होता है।
मौलाना, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आपका टाइम लिया और इस बड़ी ज़बरदस्त हलाल फूड फेस्टिवल में आपसे अचानक मुलाकात होगी है। इंशाल्लाह अहलेबाइत टीवी में आपको डायरेक्ट भी बुलाएंगे, उधर आपकी जो है ना आपका वसी नॉलेज जो है उसका फ़ायदा उठाएंगे।
शुक्रिया बहुत बहुत। इंजॉय आप भी करें, मैं भी इंजॉय कर रहा हूँ। इंशाल्लाह सारे दोस्तों को, भाइयों को, बहनों को मैं यहाँ देख रहा हूँ और मुझे बड़ी खुशी है कि सब लोग यहाँ इस एग्जीबिशन में बड़ा इंजॉय कर रहे हैं।
मेहरबानी जनाब, thank you very much. अच्छा जी, खुदा हाफ़िज़। What do you think is special about this particular festival?
I mean, what is special about this festival, I would say, is more of an education. It's more of telling people and letting people know that halal is not just religion. Halal is also about purity. Halal is also about finding a balance between purity, hygiene, and the best of producers, well within being in the halal, within the parameters of halal. You cannot and you should not stop yourself from coming and experimenting and trying and exploring new things. What we've done here is to basically have very secured boundaries that whatever exists inside this is edible, and whatever exists inside this will not offend your religion.
And what do you see for the future for events like this? Is there a demand, do you think?
Absolutely. I mean, more and more halal farmers are coming up with their producers, and they are training, educating themselves as to how to rear, breed, and to bring forward their producers. Being a halal, having the pride of serving halal food, I mean, I would say it is more of a learning and education curve for most of them. This segment is something which will definitely have a bigger market, and in the future will be contributing humongously to the economy.
Well, we can see some of the biggest names in British food market here, supermarkets and all sorts.
Yes.
Is this the way forward in terms of a profitability for a lot of companies in Britain?
Absolutely. I mean, the segment which the British economy will definitely want to adapt is to make things more safer for halal people to also come and have, which means they are encouraging them to come and spend their hard-earned money on something which they accept as pure.
Sure.
So which means definitely the economy will be supported by this segment as well to bring it up.
Quickly. Okay, and finally, what's your plans for the future as a chef? What are your ambitions?
As a chef, my ambition is definitely to create more and more rooms where I could promote
Okay, so we're just
people
having our final
to come
preparations
about-
ready for
to
our
come
next
up and try new
demonstration. I
things.
see you're all very
I will
keen
be
and very
associated
eager.
with Halal Food
Just a
Festival,
reminder, any
to
any
promote them on
signings,
different
photographs,
forums and
book
grounds.
signings, that kind of thing we'll be
Thank
doing
you very
later on
much.
after the
Now,
demonstration.
sorry,
So
do you have a
just
card?
sit tight there for a
Because
second.
I'd love to invite you to our studios
Very
at
last
some
picture for
time.
the moment. There we go.
My
Just have
card
to get
I'm not
organised
carrying
now.
today, but that is
Just bear with us and we'll be
Joho
ready
is my
in just a
stand
moment
there.
or two
What
in
is it
time.
Joho Soho
Joho Soho.
is the stand there. You
We
can
just
come and take my details.
last one. We need to get cracked on.
Then.
Right.
We'll come
Right.
and visit you at your place as well. Very good.
Very quickly.
Thank you.
Right, there we go. Any more photographs for now from a distance?
Well, I'm going to come straight back to Ajmal. Some positive comments and some suggestions as well, Ajmal. What do you think?
Well, I just hope that Subway was halal. That gentleman who was quite a critic there, I just hope his Subway is halal. I was there. Of course, with any big event, there's always going to be, some issues. But I mean, that's just part and parcel of a big, successful event. And I was there. I had a great time.
I think what happens is that people have an expectation, and with the size of the venue and with the number of stalls,
High level of expectations.
Yeah, there were over 10,000 people. I think will probably turn, and it was probably a victim of its own success in some respects. And probably now the organisers have got an idea of how much of a demand there is for this, and perhaps they'd have to have an even bigger venue and cater for people's dining needs on the day. Because I think the displays were great, and they were exhibition stands really. They couldn't cater for that kind of number of people. So it actually just shows how thirsty our public is for more events like this, perhaps.
And I totally agree. And whatever issues there were, I think they're easily fixed.
Minuscule.
So it's not as if these issues are they can be easily fixed.
Sure. We have a caller on the line. Please, your question or comment. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, Mohsin. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Again, I have come again.
Thank you, lovely
just
to hear
ask
you.
the question because the discussion was so important. I could not resist to come back. If you allow me, with the permission of Molana Hussaini, I would like to say about 2 minutes, if you can give me, because I know that people are there and they want to say something.
Sure.
What I was saying in here, actually, that food is more important to build up the real human being rather than the entertainment, because entertainment is, of course, for the worldly affairs, not for the spiritual affairs, and the humanity or human being, they are actually, the health depends on the food, and also if they do not use the entertainment for materialistic or worldly purposes. Because whenever we use the worldly purposes, entertainment, I'm talking about entertainment at the moment, because it will redirect or it will distract the position of coming to the spiritual satisfaction. We will go to the worldly satisfaction, not the spiritual or human satisfaction for that point of view. As far as the food is concerned, the genes and everything, the whole society or the whole building up of the body depends on the food. The food you eat, that affect your hormones, they affect your genes, and therefore, if you have the wrong food, we have got the mental problem. Also nowadays in problem about the mental health. There is a lot of discussion going on. This is due to both factors, which I would say is food, wrong food, and also the wrong entertainment. Perhaps Molana Musharraf or you may throw some light on it. I won't take any long time. It's a long discussion. Thank you very much. If you have to ask question, then I'm here to answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. There were a lot of issues that were raised there in terms of food and its impact on health. That brings us neatly onto the more serious aspect of eating halal food. Halal food, by the common definition for the layperson, seems to end at the point where they discuss zibah, and that this is halal. That's our concept, that you get an animal and you slaughter it. And actually, even in the mainstream English public, you've also got that same kind of definition. But halal is a much bigger bigger concept. Even in the food arena, it has a much bigger connotation. Let's start with the process of where halal begins from the Prophet, peace be upon him's teachings. When he talks about how he treats animals and how you treat those things which give their lives, for instance.
You know, before I come to your question, just one thing, important thing, that in our body, for example's sake, we have got some disease or we go to the doctor. Most of the things that right on the top of the list is the blood test, because any germs in our body will be found in our blood. So halal, the zabiha, the slaughtering in the Islamic way, takes off the blood, so the flesh, the meat remains clean for us for consumption. That's number one thing. There are different points to be taken care of. First of all, the animal should be halal. You can't eat every animal, the halal animal, number one. Number two, it should be healthy. The health-wise, it should be checked in everything. For example, we say for the Qurbani, we buy for on the Eidul, on the Baqarid. The animal which is checked, their teeth, their everything, they should be in a good healthy state. So number three, the zabiha, the process of zabiha is in itself a very process that it shouldn't be something like cruelty, that you are just pushing in and cutting it in minutes, and it's permissible. The best slaughter is that just with one slit you have slaughtered the animal. And you can't slaughter an animal. It's not permissible that in front of another animal. You know, while the other animals are watching, you can't do that. So all these things, these processes have to be taken care of. But as it's becoming a commercial thing, the commercial thing, the spiritual side the religious side is shrinking from them. You can't have ulama overlooking these things, and all the processes are being hindered because the materialistic side has come, the income profit size has come, so they want to invest less and less into this business. And while we are seeing that the halal, for example, the chicken or the lamb meat, the halal one and the price of the normal meat that's available in the market, which is not halal, there's too much difference between that, and we need to bring. But the process is so difficult. It has been made difficult. I think we need to simplify the process of slaughtering the animals in the halal way. If that process is simplified, the prices will come down, and the competition will be more. And with the more competition, the price obviously will come down, and more halal of quality, and the quality food will be available in the market. What you were saying, that I think one of the reasons for that is the tight laws and rules and regulations, which are so only the people who have been in the business, they are able. No fresh people like those educated people, they are unable to get into this business very quickly.
Well, the thing is, let me really lampoon Muslims straight away. The Hajj is coming up. Virtually every one of those animals that is going to be slaughtered out in Hajj, in the most sacred activity that Muslims claim we do, animals are going to be slaughtered in front of animals in the thousands.
Yes.
And you see, and it's happening right in the most sacred place. And the example that you set there, if actually a non-Muslim, if I was a non-Muslim and I looked at that situation, I'd say, where on earth is your humanity? Where on earth is the humanity of Muslims? Fine, we talk about zabiha, and we talk about halal, and we talk about but there you're blatantly disregarding the Prophet's. The people who are organizing there are blatantly disregarding the Prophet's injunction.
I don't think it's very organized. The Hajj things, you find too many things disorganized and unorganized. Although one of the wealthiest countries of the world, Saudi Arabia, but it's Saudi Arabia. It's not something to do. It's not a religious government. It's not the Sharia government. They don't take care of the Sharia. They're just the custodians of that place. They've got that place is in their custody. And I've got too many reservations about the Saudi government. And if they would have tried to put this right, they could have done it. But they don't care for that. They are just caring for the income coming from the Hajj, and what they are doing. They take that meat all and pack it and sell it outside the countries. And first, initially, they were saying that we are giving it to the poor countries without any price, but now they're selling it. Similarly, their dates, they're being sold for high prices. They're making money. So their interest is only making money, and otherwise, the religious sanctity, that's not taken care of. So that can't be an example. So there are too many other things, too many other issues.
You see where this comes in, guys. When we start to put ourselves forward as the moral judges of humanity, the leaders of humanity in civilization, and we point to the Quran and we say this is the book which gives us the greatest rules, and then when we as active implementers of that rule behave in a way which is en masse obviously not civilized, then the outsiders look and say, why should I be a Muslim? Is this what Muslims do?
But they are not representatives of Islam. We have seen that too many places. We were discussing the same issue when I was in Houston, in Texas, in the United States. There we had a discussion over it, and to find out the halal ways and what are the important. And the people came down, they sat down, we had a discussion, they came to a conclusion. In America, the good point is that they've got slaughterhouses, and you can slaughter an animal on your farms. You know, you can slaughter the animal, and then you have to keep it parts there to be examined by a competent person from the council, from the city council. He comes down, you just to ring them. I've slaughtered animals, and he'll be waiting within an hour or 2 hours. He comes down, he checks those parts, and he recommends that, okay, this is healthy animal. So, but the situation is here in United Kingdom, you can't do that. That system is not there, so competition is not there. Their people have got their own farmhouses, they've got to slaughter an animal, they can do it according, so their people are doing, so if people can do it in the United States of America, why can't they do it in Saudi Arabia? If people are not doing that, practicing, you know, a government of a Muslim, a person who says I'm a Muslim is a different thing, and a government which abides by the rules and regulations of Islam is a different thing. So Islam is not to be blamed. It's the people who want to get benefits of Islam and don't want to serve Islam, they are to be blamed.
But we do need to analyze our own definition of halal. Our definition of halal, what I'm trying to drive at, is that perhaps in the average person, we've begun to ourselves limit what the word halal means. And often when you say the word halal, immediately just people think about, you know, that very narrow description. And I think that's one of the awareness campaigns. First of all, at that stage, we need to educate our own people, to educate our own youngsters, that halal has a much deeper concept, a much more civilization-based and spiritually and practically very sound set of reasoning. And this is what I want to drive away. We've gone towards rituals. We find a ritual. The Hajj might be a ritual. Matam might be a ritual. We have the rituals at Muharram. We have all these rituals, and in this case, the ritual of halal slaughter. And we don't understand the background. We don't bother to find out why or the reasons. And this is, inshallah, what we're trying to sort of drive at within the conversation.
Alhamdulillah, we ourselves, as you know, we have been doing that in our programs. We have, because of this media and the TV especially, we have been increasing the level of awareness among the people, and we have been informing the people about these things. These are very important factors and need to be discussed. But more than discussion, we need to get the people involved in it. They should come forward with it, and they should understand what's the difference between a halal meat. Why do we slaughter? Why do we need to slaughter an animal? What's the difference between a halal meat and non-slaughtered animals meat? There is a difference between them, and hygienically and otherwise also. So these things need awareness and regular things, but the interest of the people, interest of the public, interest of the youth especially is very important for that purpose.
Agha, we have a news break. I'm going to bring you back into this conversation. I've done the heavy bit with Agha, but we'll come back to get your views and opinions on the halal issue. Are we really aware of what halal means? What does halal mean in the broader context? Please call in. We're going to take your calls straight after the news break.